What happens when the world's most powerful leaders are taken hostage, and the only one who can save them is the President of the United States? Armed, cornered, and ready to fight back. Cue the chaos of a summit under siege, deepfake conspiracies, and a first family in danger. This isn't your average political drama, it's a full-blown action thriller with Viola Davis kicking ass in heels and Kevlar. G20 plunges viewers into a high-stakes crisis at an international summit. U.S. President Danielle Sutton attends a G20 conference in Cape Town, South Africa, when a team of mercenaries launches a violent takeover of the venue. The terrorists, led by ex-Australian Special Forces soldier Rutledge, hold world leaders hostage as part of a scheme to destabilize the global economy using deep fake propaganda and cryptocurrency manipulation. President Sutton narrowly evades capture and goes on the run within the besieged complex. With her own family, including First Gentleman Derek and teenage daughter Serena, caught in the chaos, Sutton must rely on her wits, combat training, and a few trusted allies to outsmart the attackers and save the day. The result is a die-hard-style showdown in which the commander-in-chief becomes the last line of defense for her family and the world's leaders. Viola Davis brings her trademark intensity and gravitas to the role of President Danielle Sutton. Known for dramatic roles, Davis confidently evolves into an action hero, lending the character a commanding presence even in the film's most explosive scenes. Sutton is portrayed as a former Army vet turned politician, and Davis makes this duality believable. One moment delivering stern presidential authority, the next grappling hand-to-hand with terrorists. In one memorable sequence, she straps on a Kevlar vest over her elegant evening gown to battle gunmen. A striking visual that embodies the film's premise of a leader fighting back. Some may question why an Oscar-winning actress of Davis' caliber would lead a pulpy action vehicle, but much like Denzel Washington in The Equalizer, her choice seems born out of genuine love for the genre rather than mere career calculation. Davis' performance anchors G20, and even critics who found the film uneven agree that she cuts a formidable figure, effectively selling both Sutton's steely resolve and her moments of vulnerable humanity. Beyond the bullets and fistfights, G20 packs in topical political themes, albeit with a heavy hand. The villain's plot hinges on cryptocurrency and cyber warfare. Rutledge engineers a fake narrative that G20 leaders are creating a secret global digital currency to maintain power, hoping to incite panic that drives up the value of his $70 million crypto stash. This outlandish scheme taps into contemporary anxieties about unregulated digital currency and deepfake technology, though it's executed in a rather hackneyed way according to some critics. On the global diplomacy front, the movie ultimately delivers an earnest message about international cooperation. There's an obvious metaphor about world leaders needing to come together so that progress can prevail. The most provocative commentary in G20 involves its exploration of gender and racial dynamics. President Sutton is not only a woman but a woman of color leading the free world, and the story makes a point of showing how she faces skepticism and condescension from some male counterparts. In fact, Sutton herself remarks that she worked twice as hard to reach the presidency, yet is often reduced to discussions about her wardrobe rather than her policies. The film addresses this bias with the subtlety of a sledgehammer. Allies like the British Prime Minister frequently question her authority, and tellingly, all the mercenaries are white, while the people who come to Sutton's aid are people of color. This on-the-nose approach leaves little room for nuance, but it does underline the unique pressures on Sutton as a black female leader. G20 deserves some credit for weaving social commentary into its action. Though at times the dialogue turns didactic, spelling out themes that older thrillers might have conveyed with a lighter touch, director Patricia Riggin approaches G20 with a straight-faced earnestness, treating the B-movie premise with A-movie intensity. She stages the film's set pieces with competence and a palpable sense of tension. The initial terrorist raid on the summit is chaotic and gripping, immediately raising the stakes. Riggin's background in drama perhaps influences the emphasis on character moments amid the mayhem, as we see in the way she highlights Sutton's personal stakes and moral leadership, even during combat. However, the serious tone means G20 sometimes misses the chance to have fun with its concept. The film has been described as too straight-faced to have as much fun with its juicy premise as it could, and indeed, it often plays things dead serious where a more self-aware thriller might inject witty one-liners or wry humor. Comparison to other presidential action romps is inevitable. While many viewers might be reminded of the likes of Olympus Has Fallen series, G20 actually aligns more closely with the spirit of Air Force One. Like that 1990s classic where Harrison Ford's president fought hijackers, G20 features a head of state who personally takes down terrorists, blending patriotism with popcorn thrills. Yet Air Force One had a confident simplicity and iconic hero moments that G20 doesn't quite match. Reagan's film is more preoccupied with modern geopolitical issues, which at times weigh it down. In trying to be topical, it can feel a bit overstuffed with issues where Air Force One remained a lean, high-octane ride. There's also a clear attempt to position G20 in the lineage of dignified stars as action heroes, just as Denzel Washington brought stoic charisma to The Equalizer. Viola Davis here channels that same energy. A respected actor elevating a standard action script through sheer force of talent. The result is a film that has the trappings of a 90s throwback thriller, but with 2020's concerns and a modern diverse lens. Reagan capably delivers suspense and spectacle, even if G20 never quite escapes the shadow of the genre giants it emulates. While Davis is the centerpiece, G20 benefits from a robust supporting cast that enhances both the action and the emotional core of the story. Ramon Rodriguez stands out as Secret Service agent Manny Ruiz, Sutton's primary protector, who proves invaluable once the summit goes haywire. Rodriguez turns in a scene-stealing performance, portraying Ruiz with a mix of bravery and quick-thinking resourcefulness. He's not just a bodyguard but a true partner to the president in crisis, and some of the film's most crowd-pleasing heroics come from his character's interventions. Action fans will appreciate that Manny gets his own moments to shine, holding off gunmen and strategizing escapes, all while injured and still cracking a wry smile in the face of danger. The film also introduces a rare on-screen dynamic, a first family in peril. Anthony Anderson plays First Gentleman Derek Sutton, offering warmth and a touch of levity as the supportive husband suddenly thrust into a life-or-death situation. Anderson, better known for comedic roles, here underplays it nicely, giving Derek a grounded, caring presence that balances out the tension. Marcy Martin plays the first daughter, Serena, whose rebellious streak inadvertently lands her in harm's way. Serena starts off as a source of frustration for her mother, but the ordeal at the summit becomes a bonding journey for mother and daughter. Their initially frosty relationship thaws over the course of the film as Serena witnesses her mom in action and Sutton learns to trust her tech-savvy teen's instincts. In fact, each member of the Sutton family gets a chance to contribute, whether it's Derek using quick thinking to protect others or young Serena deploying her smarts to help thwart the terrorists. The family element adds heart to what could have been a one-note siege thriller. This dynamic raises the stakes on a personal level and gives viewers someone to root for beyond just the president herself. On the villainous side, Anthony Starr brings menace to Rutledge, though the character is largely a straightforward antagonist with a grudge. Supporting leaders at the summit, like Douglas Hodge as the skeptical UK Prime Minister and Sabrina Impicciator as the IMF head, serve their parts in the story, mainly to contrast Sutton's courage or to be valuable hostages. While these side characters are not deeply fleshed out, the actors make the most of their screen time. Notably, as tensions rise, even the doubters, such as Hodge's pompous prime minister, come to respect Sutton's resolve, reinforcing the film's theme of overcoming prejudice through action. Overall, the ensemble around Viola Davis helps sell the reality of an international crisis, and their reactions, whether fearful, brave, or treacherous, add texture to the narrative. As an action thriller, G20 delivers a fair amount of high-octane set pieces and tactical showdowns. The choreography of the combat is solid, if not groundbreaking. There are frantic close-quarters fights, shootouts in ornate conference halls, and a few stealthy cat-and-mouse sequences in dark service corridors. Reagan keeps these scenes coherent and tense. One can sense the influence of films like Die Hard in the way President Sutton improvised weapons and maneuvers through a vertical maze of elevators and stairwells to outwit her foes. At times, the editing does cut around the action quickly, likely to accommodate the fact that the 59-year-old Davis, while fierce, isn't performing full-scale martial arts flips. Even so, the sequencing of the set pieces from the initial ambush to a rooftop climax effectively maintains suspense and excitement. A standout is the early siege on the summit, depicted with chaotic intensity as security details are overwhelmed. It's a jarring wake-up call that puts us on edge for the fights to come. Augmenting the action is a thunderous musical score by Joseph Trapanese. Trapanese's score mixes urgent electronic pulses with orchestral swells to underscore the tension. In quieter moments, it broods in the background, and when the bullets start flying, it surges to elevate the adrenaline on screen. The sound design and music work in tandem to make us feel the peril in each gunshot and explosion, lending G20 a polished blockbuster atmosphere despite being a streaming release. On the other hand, the film's dialogue and script occasionally undermine the finesse of its action. The screenplay tends to spell out its messages with clunky, on-the-nose lines, and some of the one-liners land with a thud. For instance, characters overtly announce their themes or backstories in ways that can feel forced, rather than letting actions speak for themselves. One critic aptly noted that G20 is an entertaining and gripping action vehicle with a depth sense of tension that is sometimes undone by its on-the-nose dialogue. In other words, whenever the characters stop to speechify about duty, equality, or global unity, the momentum dips. The film is at its best when it trusts the audience to get the point amidst the chaos, instead of explicitly narrating it. Visually, the movie is competent. The cinematography by Checo Varese captures both the opulence of an international summit and the gritty aftermath of battle, though it doesn't have many standout artistic flourishes. All in all, the technical elements of G20 do the job for an action thriller. The fights are engaging, the pacing brisk, and the production values sufficiently high, even if the film doesn't innovate beyond genre conventions. G20 sets out to entertain with a timely twist on the classic action thriller formula, and it succeeds in delivering an engaging, if flawed, ride. On the positive side, it's undeniably satisfying to watch Viola Davis take charge in an action role, mowing down bad guys one minute and standing up for principles the next. Her performance, bolstered by a capable supporting cast, gives the film a strong center of gravity. The movie also scratches an itch for those who enjoy old-school high-concept action, the kind of scenario where a lone hero must save the world against all odds. It has several pulse-pounding sequences, a rousing score, and a clear sense of who to cheer and who to boo, which makes it easy for casual viewers to get invested. Where G20 falls short is in its aspiration to be more than a straightforward thriller. The film's attempts at political commentary and emotional depth, while admirable in intention, are executed with a lack of finesse. The script's moral messaging is often pedestrian when it could have been more insightful or subversive. By taking itself so seriously, the movie misses some opportunities to be truly fun or surprising. The plot, if examined closely, requires a hefty suspension of disbelief, even more than usual for this genre. Viewers who demand tight realism or subtle writing might find themselves rolling their eyes at the contrivances. Additionally, those expecting a politically sophisticated narrative will find that G20 uses global issues more as a backdrop for heroics than as topics it deeply explores. For a general audience, however, the key question is it worth watching? If you enjoy films like Air Force One, London Has Fallen, or any scenario where an unlikely hero fights back against evildoers, then G20 will likely scratch that itch. It's a brisk 1 hour 50 minutes of entertainment with a mix of suspense and feel-good payoff, and seeing Viola Davis in action mode is a unique draw in itself. The movie's entertainment value is solid. It's fun to root for President Sutton as she outwits and outfights the baddies, and the family angle adds an extra emotional hook. On the other hand, if cliché dialogue and implausible plots are deal breakers for you, G20 might not just be the movie for you. It's a film that has a commanding lead in Viola Davis but doesn't fully capitalize on its juicy premise, landing in the middle of the pack as far as action thrillers go. In summary, G20 is a decent popcorn thriller that benefits greatly from its star power. It doesn't reinvent the genre, but it delivers exactly what its premise promises: Viola Davis as a formidable action hero president, fighting bad guys and inspiring unity. For a night of streaming when you're in the mood for some escapist action with a topical twist, you could do far worse. Just go in with measured expectations, enjoy the ride, accept the bumps in the script, and you'll find G20 to be an engaging, if not exceptional, addition to the action thriller catalog. Casual viewers looking for a new release to stream should find enough excitement here to make it worth the watch, especially if they're fans of Viola Davis or the classic thrills of 90s-style action flicks. G20 is not a flawless film, but is a showcase of a badass Viola Davis and a vessel for timely popcorn entertainment. It gets the job done, offering a satisfying if somewhat formulaic thrill ride that's worth checking out on a laid-back movie night.